Is my screen visible, children? Is my screen visible? I've shared my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah, this is a different paper, but we saw a question similar to this yesterday. I think this is directly from your NCERT. Work this and tell me the equation. Yesterday we saw a similar sum where the charges for parking the car for the first 2 hours was 30 rupees and rupees 10 for every subsequent hour. Similar situation.
Ma'am, 5x plus y is equal to 3.
Yeah, we'll just wait for the others also to work. What is the remaining distance? What is the fare for the first kilometer?
Ma'am, 8 rupees.
8 rupees. What's the total distance covered? Some of us have not still finished the term 1 exam. Yes, what's the total distance covered? Why all of you are very shy, is it, to unmute and speak? Please come out of your nutshell. Unmute your mic. You can see the information on the screen. What is the total distance covered? So the usually active participants are not there today. So see, it's so quiet. Yeah, see, I can see all here. You have to answer, right, to keep the class going. What is the total distance covered? Okay, X kilometers. Can we see that on the screen? The total distance covered is X kilometers. Then what is the remaining distance? Because the charge is for the first kilometer, you are charged separately. So what is the remaining distance?
5x minus.
No, what is the remaining distance? Total distance is X. What's the remaining distance? X minus 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
X minus 1. The total distance covered is X kilometers. For the first kilometer, you have to pay 8 rupees. For the remaining distance, the total distance covered is X, but you have paid separately for the first kilometer. So for the remaining X minus 1 kilometers, you have to pay at the rate of 5 rupees. So 5 into X minus 1. This will give you the total fare. The total fare is equal to the fare for the first kilometer, which is 8 rupees. The total fare is given to be Y. It's given in the question. The total fare is Y. So the total fare has a split up. The total fare is equal to the fare for the first kilometer, 8 rupees, plus the total distance covered is X. But we have paid for the first kilometer separately. So X minus 1 is the remaining distance. And for this distance, you're charged at the rate of 5 rupees per kilometer. So now we have to solve this equation. So y is equal, solve meaning we need to simplify the equation, not solve. We need to simplify this equation. So 5x minus 5. So on simplifying further, we get 5x minus y plus 3 is equal to 0. Plus 3 is equal to 0. 5x minus y plus 3 is equal to 0. Is this correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What did I say? 5x? 5x minus y plus 3. 5x minus y plus 3. What's happening? Yeah. Compare the above equation with ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 and find the value of a plus b plus c. What's the value of a? You have the equation with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we have to compare it with ax plus by. Compare this one with ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 and find the value of a plus b plus c. So a is 5, b is minus 1 and c is 3. A is 5, the value of A is 5. The value of B is minus 1 and the value of C is 3. So A plus B plus C will be 7. Will be 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. If the total fare is 93 rupees, then find the total distance. The total fare is 93 rupees. So what is that variable x or y which represents the total fare in the equation? The total fare. In the equation, we have two variables x and y. Which one represents the total fare?
Y.
Y. Y represents the total fare and y, the value of y is given to us. If the total fare is 93 rupees, then find the total distance. So in this equation, this is the equation we have with us. Y is equal to 5x. This is the equation 5x minus y plus 93, sorry, plus 3 is equal to 0. And here in this equation, y is the total fare. The total fare is y. X is the total distance. X is the total distance. Y is the total fare. So 5x 5x, I think it's 93. The total fare is given as 93. Y is the total fare. X is the total distance covered. Plus 3 is equal to 0. Plus 3 is equal to 0. On solving this, we'll get x is equal to 90. Because here we get minus 90. On transposing 90, 90 by 5, which is 18. Which is 18. So the distance covered is 18 kilometers. So now let's calculate. So if you go a total of, if you use the cab for a total of 18 kilometers, how will you pay him? For the first kilometer, you would have paid him 8 rupees. See, we are getting the total distance is 18 kilometers. That's what we're getting. This is the total fare. Y is the total fare. So y is 93. We substitute and we solve and find the value of x. X represents the total distance. X represents the total distance. So you have used the Ola cab to cover a distance of 18 kilometers. So that means let's verify. So how much would have paid him? 18 kilometers. For the first kilometer, he would have charged you 18 rupees. For the remaining distance, that is for the remaining 17 kilometers, you would have paid him at the rate of 5 rupees per kilometer. If you have used this cab to cover a distance of 18 kilometers, how would you have paid this cab driver? For the first kilometer, 8 rupees. Then for the remaining distance, 18 because this is for the first kilometer. So the remaining will be 18 minus 1, 17. For the remaining 17 kilometers at the rate of 5 rupees per kilometer. So 17 5s are 85 plus 8. Plus 8, which is 93. That was what was given to us, 93. So the distance is 18 kilometers. The total distance is 18 kilometers. The remaining distance will be 18 minus 1, 17 kilometers. The total distance is x. X represents the total distance, which is 18 kilometers. If the distance covered is 11 kilometers, if nothing is given, it's the total distance only. If distance covered, meaning it's a total distance covered, it's not the remaining distance. If the distance covered is 11 kilometers, then find the total fare. So this, you can use the equation or you can just calculate like that. What is it for the first kilometer? How much is it for the first kilometer? At least after I've spoken for some time, you can, like unmute and say something.
8.
What is it? Yeah, 8 is the fare for the first kilometer. Now, what's the remaining distance? 11 is the total. What's the remaining distance? 11 minus 1, 10 kilometers is the remaining distance. Yeah. And what is the rate per kilometer? 5 rupees. So 10 into 550 plus 858. First kilometer 8 rupees plus the remaining distance 10 kilometers. 11 minus 1, 10. 10 into 5, 50. 50 plus 8, 58 rupees. Or in the equation we have generated, we can you have to take x as 11, the distance there, x as 11, and find the value of y. You will get the same thing, 58. If you want to use the equation, since x is the variable that represents the total distance covered, you should use 11 in place of x and find the value of y, which will be 58. If the fare for the first kilometer is 12 rupees and the fare for the subsequent distance is rupees 8 per kilometer, then write a linear equation for this information. Yes, please do this. So we'll get started with the term 2 portions from the next class. Next class being Diwali, the eve of Diwali, we will not have the class on Wednesday. So our next class on Saturday, we'll be starting the portions for term 2. Because now most of us, with tomorrow, most schools, in fact, all the schools except Montfort are finishing off their final exams, term 1 final exams. Montfort alone, you have not got the timetable, right? That's what Kanishka told me. You have not still got the timetable, right? You're expected to have it somewhere around the second week or third week of November is what Kanishka told me the other day. Right, Kanishka? Okay, today everybody is taking a vote not to speak in the class today. Fine.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, I had an exam before this. Yesterday only my exam was finished, ma'am. But that was not the first term exam. Now, coming November, I'll be having exam, ma'am. But the timetable was not came, ma'am. So after it will come, I'll send you, ma'am.
Oh, I took that to be your. Okay. That was a preparatory exam, is it? For the main
It's
exam.
like monthly exam, yes, ma'am.
Oh, you haven't got your term 1 timetable, final examination timetable?
No, ma'am, I didn't have, ma'am.
Okay. So then
After coming, I will just send you, ma'am.
all right, yeah, do that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
In any case, since we are now in November, we have to get started with the term 2 portions. In fact, I have started it when we began the classes after the vacations. But since you guys, some of you were having your exams, I was just trying to revise the term 1 portions.
Yes.
But we cannot delay it any further. So term 2 portions will commence from the coming Saturday. Today is Sunday, yeah, the coming Saturday.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, children. What's the equation? For the first kilometer, 12 rupees. So 12 plus the remaining distance. The remaining distance will be, again, you'll have to take the same, value x and y hold the same meaning. X is the distance, y is the total fare. So the total fare y is equal to the fare for the first kilometer, 12 rupees plus the remaining distance will be x minus 1 into 8. Y is equal to 12 plus 8 into x minus 1. Y is the total fare is equal to, for the first kilometer, 12 rupees. So 12 plus remaining distance is x minus 1 because you've already paid 12 rupees for the first kilometer. So the remaining distance is x minus 1. That at the rate of 8 rupees. So 8 into x minus 1.
And 8x minus y plus 4 is equal to 0.
Come again, 8x
Minus y plus 4 is equal to 0.
Yeah, correct. 8x minus y plus 4 is equal to 0. 8x minus y plus 4 is equal to 0. What kind of a bar graph is this? It's a double bar graph. It's a
Double
double.
bar graph.
Yeah, it's a double bar graph. Correct. And the rectangle which has grains in it, the rectangle which has grains in it represents girls, and the other one which has oblique lines, which has oblique line segments, so that one represents boys. The question is, the class having highest pass rate of girls is. The graph shows the result of annual examination in a secondary school. So percentage of students in class. That is the marks, percentage of marks of students. Percentage of the pass percentage of students. Yes, which of the rectangles of the girls is the tallest? Class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10. Look at the rectangle which is of the girls in the different classes. Which rectangle of the girls is the tallest? 7th standard. The rectangle 7th standard. This is the tallest rectangle. Of all the rectangles of girls, the rectangle here in 7th standard, the bar here is the tallest. So the class having highest pass rate of girls is 7th standard. The class having lowest pass rate of boys is
7th.
7th. 7. So look at the rectangles that belong to boys in every standard. So this is the shortest. So the class having the lowest pass rate of boys. Look at the rectangles that belong to boys alone in different classes. So this one is the shortest. So 7. The pair of classes in which the pass rate of boys is equal. In which two standards, the pass rate of the boys, the pass percentage is equal. In which two classes? Again?
9th and 10th.
9th and 10th. Correct? 9th and 10th. See here. This is the percentage of boys. This also is the percentage of boys. The two rectangles have the same height. The two rectangles have the same height. The others, the height differs. This one is, when you compare these two, this is short. They're not equal. When you look at all the rectangles, there are 5 rectangles for boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of these 5 rectangles of boys, which 2 rectangles have the same height? Which 2 rectangles have the same height? These 2 rectangles have the same height. These 2 rectangles have the same height. So the pass rate of the boys of class 9 and class 10 is equal or is the same. The difference between the rate of passing in boys and girls of class 8 is the difference. You'll have to read the values carefully and find the difference. What's the height of the rectangle that belongs to boys?
90.
90. Yeah, 90. And of the girls? 60. All of you agree with 90 and 60? 90, 60.
Yes, ma'am.
90 and 60. So the difference is 90 minus 60, 30. The difference, see, this is only of 8th standard. So look at the two rectangles of 8th standard. Look at the two rectangles of 8th standard. The first one belongs to boys and the second one girls. What is the difference? The height of the boys rectangle is 90 and that of the girls is 60. So 90 minus 60, 30 is the difference. Girls of the sum of the pass rate of girls of 10th standard and the boys of 6th standard. Girls of 10th standard, boys of 6th standard is.
Ma'am, 170.
170. What is the height of the rectangle that belongs to girls of 10th standard?
90, ma'am.
90. Okay, it's not 100, so it has to be 90. It's not 100. Yeah, okay, 90. See, since there are no subdivisions between 80 and 90, you cannot read 89, 88, 87. You cannot read all that. So your answers will be in multiples of 10. Because that's all, because it's not further, you don't find any further divisions between 80 and 90 or between any two consecutive numbers here. You can only give your values in tens. So
I think it's 160.
girls is 90. Girls is, all of you agree with girls 90 because it's girls 90.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and boys of 6th standard? Boys of 6th standard here, boys of 6th standard.
70.
70? Yeah, so 90 and 70?
160.
160, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but somebody said 170. This is 100. This is 100, so this is 90. 90 and 70. Oh no, 90 and 8. 1 minute, 90
Ma'am,
and 8.
90 and 80, ma'am. Not 70.
Anushka, 9, because this is of the girls. This one is of the boys. 80, it is 90 and 80. Let's do it again. Girls of 10th standard. This is girls of 10th standard. This is 90. This is girls of 10th standard, 90. This is girls of 10th standard, which is 90. And boys is this one. Boys of 6th standard, this rectangle. Boys of 6th standard, this rectangle, whose height is 80. So 90 and 80, 170. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I eat BN?
Ma'am,
Yes, Shreyas. What's a semi-perimeter?
ma'am, the semi-perimeter is 11 meters, ma'am.
Oh,
14, ma'am. $14 ma'am.
14. How 14?
Ma'am, if we add those three sides, we will get 28, ma'am.
It's given. Oh, there's a mistake in the question. That is in the figure. It's given 11. I think. Shreyas.
Ma'am, I just saw the question and made that.
No. Even I was wondering how Kanishka got 14. Even I was like wondering how she got 14. Even I was looking at 6, 7, and 9, which is typed in the question. Okay, I made a mistake there. It's 8, 9, and 11. Sorry, it's 8, 9, and 11. I'll change it later. 8, 9, and 11. Okay, so 11, 20, 28, 14. It's incorrect here. 6, 7, 9 incorrect. Look at the figure here. 11 plus 9, 20 plus 8, 28 by 2, 14. Semi-perimeter. What is S? What's the formula? How do you express semi-perimeter as a formula? S is equal to
A plus B plus C divided by 2.
A plus B plus C by 2. Okay. How do you, just by using the letter S, perimeter is equal to, use the letter S, right? Perimeter in terms of semi-perimeter, P is equal to?
A plus B plus C, ma'am.
No, you express perimeter in terms of semi-perimeter. P is equal to, perimeter is equal to?
S into 2, ma'am.
Yeah. Twice semi-perimeter, 2S. Perimeter means twice semi-perimeter, 2 into S. 2 into S is perimeter. Twice semi-perimeter is perimeter. Yeah, find the area of the wall in meter square. Find the area of the wall. Now for this you should know. So when you get a surd, say like √5 or √7, you should know how to find the square root, or else you should know the value of √7. It's not provided here. What's the area? Children waiting for your answer.
Ma'am, 18.97 meters square.
Yeah, let's wait what the others have to say. Okay, 18.97. Fine.
Same, ma'am.
కడుపుదాం పడుతుంది. Let me also work. What's that you get as a third? What is that irrational you're getting? Yeah, what is that irrational value you got?
Root 10, ma'am.
Root 10? I think Sangamitra, you too shared your answer, right? What is that you have as a third?
Ma'am, sorry, it's 6 root 10.
6 root 10, no?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't have 6 root 10. So that's my problem, right? If I don't have 6 root 10, that's my problem. Children, I'm getting 6 root 35. Is this correct? Root of 14 into 6 into 5 into 3?
Ma'am, I made a mistake. Even I did it again. I got 6 root
35, right? 6 root 35. Okay. 6 root 35. And now, children, what is the square root of 35? You need to know the long division method. That's what I was telling you at the beginning of this question, that you need to know how to find the square root of an imperfect square. Square root of 35 without using calculator, 8th standard. Okay, so it's 5.9 approximate. Correct?
In 35 point something.
Yeah, correct. 35.4. So there is some confusion regarding the options given here because because here it's given 6, 7, 9 in the question, and here I don't know if I went wrong in typing this or it was given it's a misprint or whatever. So the option is not available here. So we'll go with none of these. Mostly the correct option will be available. Mostly it's available because none of these I have given this. This was not one of the options in the paper. So there should be the correct option. Just ignore it. There's some error here. So we'll go with none of these. The formula to find the semi-perimeter of a triangle is A plus B plus C by 3, correct? Because 3 sides, so by 3, correct?
No, ma'am. A plus B plus C by 2, ma'am.
A plus B plus C by 2. Which mathematical concept is used to solve the above problem?
Heron's formula.
Heron's formula. If the side of an equilateral triangle is A, then the area of the triangle is
Root 3 by 4 A square.
Root 3 by 4 A square.
how much?
3.
3, yeah?
Ma'am, 3, ma'am.
3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll just wait for some time. Others are working on it. What's given, children? The sum of the abscissae, it's not abscissas. Abscissae, if the sum of the abscissae and ordinates of both the points is equal, then the value of m is. Okay. Abscissa is the x coordinate and ordinate is the y coordinate. What is the abscissa of point P? Or what is the x coordinate? Abscissa meaning x coordinate. What is the x coordinate of point P? Class, what is the
-5.
-5. What is the abscissa or the x coordinate of point Q?
-5.
What is the sum of the abscissae of both these points?
-10, ma'am.
-10.
Minus 10. Keep that. Okay, keep that answer. Now, what is the ordinate of point P?
3, ma'am.
3, ma'am.
3. What is the ordinate of Q?
M, ma'am.
M. Now 3 plus M should be equal to what?
-10, ma'am.
-10, right? 3 plus M, because it's given that the sum of the abscissae and the ordinates of both the points is equal. So sum of abscissae -10. So that means sum of the ordinates also should be -10. Sum of the ordinates, that is the sum of the y coordinates also should be -10. That means m plus 3 should be equal to -10. What do you get on solving? M plus 3 is equal to -10.
-13, ma'am.
-13. Shall we select that option? Is that correct? -13. Children, convincing or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because we thought 3. So now when we are selecting a different answer, are you convinced that -13 is correct? The sum of the abscissae, x coordinate of P plus x coordinate of Q is -10. The y coordinate of P plus the y coordinate of Q should also be -10. That means 3 plus m is equal to minus 10. So m is minus 13. Yes, the value of x
Angle
plus
N plus angle R, ma'am.
which option?
Second option, ma'am.
Yeah, n plus r, exterior angle property. X plus y is equal to n plus r. Oh, sorry. Where are we? Yeah, x plus y is equal to, yeah, n plus r.
$50, ma'am.
AB, if AB is equal to AC, then angle B is equal to angle C.
Yes, ma'am.
When two sides are equal, the angles opposite to them are also equal. So angle B will be equal to angle C. So C is also 50 degrees. Please work. Yes, children, are we working? Exponents.
Yes, ma'am.
No? All right.
Ma'am, xy is equal to qz.
XY is equal to QZ. Write down
Yes, ma'am.
the
Yes, ma'am.
XY is equal to QZ. Okay, we'll see. I hope you have this question in your book so that you can read out the question for me. We are given that a to the power x is equal to c to the power
Q.
q is equal to
B.
something b. Okay, b. Then what's the other one, children? I forgot. I wanted to remember, but
Y.
y, c to the power y is equal to
A power Z
a to the power z.
is
Okay,
equal to
is equal to d. Okay. All right, children. So this is how I'm doing. If you have a different way of working, please share it with me. So since now I did not consider B and D because we have A and C here, we have A and C here also. I did not take up B and D. So now I just started with this. Since we have in both the conditions given, we have base A and C in both. So I first took up this one. I just took up this one, A to the power X is equal to C to the power Q. Then I thought only when bases are same on both the sides, we can proceed by equating the powers. Now with this, nothing much can be done. If bases are same on both the sides, we can equate the powers. So I want to remove C and introduce A there. I want to remove the base C and introduce the base A. So I take up this condition. We know that C to the power Y is equal to A to the power Z from this next condition. Now we want to replace C. That means this power Y should not be there. We want to write something for C. That means this power Y should be eliminated. So we raise both the sides to the power 1 by Y. So that way Y will get cancelled. We raise both the sides to the power 1 by Y. We raise both the sides to the power 1 by Y. We raise both the sides to the power 1 by Y. That is, we write this equation as it is and whole power 1 by Y on both the sides. So now you can see that Y and Y will get cancelled. And so we get C is equal to a to the power, C is equal to a to the power Z by Y. Z by Y. Now we'll use that here. A to the power X is equal to C is nothing but a to the power Z by Y. Z by Y. The whole power Q. The whole power Q, because we have Q here. C can be replaced with a to the power Z by Y. So now a to the power, now we have the same, we have accomplished what we wanted. We wanted to have the same base on both the sides. So now we have it. So a to the power X is equal to a to the power ZQ by Y. ZQ multiply the power ZQ by Y. Now the base are same on both the sides. So we'll equate the powers. On equating the powers, we get X is equal to ZQ by Y. Upon cross multiplying, we have XY is equal to ZQ. XY is equal to ZQ or XY is equal to QZ. XY is equal to QZ. I won't say this is the only way of working. When we try, we can get it, we can get the result in different ways. So I will not say that this is the only way of working. So like this, we can also try to have the same base C on both the sides. We can try to have the same base C on both the sides. So when we try, we get different ideas. So you can also do. So here the idea is having the same base A on both the sides. You can also do it with C on both the sides. So XY is equal to QZ. XY is equal to QZ, the first option. Now, when you are given a point, now when you're given a point, see now supposing a house has 5 rooms, okay? A house has 5 rooms. Kitchen, the toilet and 1 hall and 2 rooms or 2 rooms. Okay, I said 5 rooms, right? Okay, so 2 rooms, a hall, kitchen and toilet. So now if you're playing hide and seek with your friends at home, we are not considering the attic and all that. There are many places to hide. You can go under the cot, you can get into a wardrobe, but not close it completely. You can get onto the attic, whatever, there can be many hideouts. We'll just talking in terms of rooms, so you can hide in these 5 places. Inside the house, you can hide in these 5 places. In the same way, when you're given a point in the Cartesian plane, what are the different locations the point can take? What are the different locations in which the point can lie on a Cartesian plane? Where all can you find a point? How many places are there? Answer that question first.
7.
7, is it? 7?
In 7 places, a point can be seen.
Okay, including the origin, you're saying, Sangamitra?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell me the 7 places.
First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. X-axis and Y-axis, and then the origin.
Origin. Very good. So these are the different places in which the point can lie. The point can lie on the X-axis, on the Y-axis. Now, when we say now what we are discussing is not a standard question. I just wanted you to realize the different positions available in a Cartesian plane. So the origin lies on both the X and Y axis. The coordinate 0, 0 is the point of intersection of the x and y axis. So it lies on both the lines. The point 0, 0 lies on the x axis as well as the y axis. It's the point of intersection. It's the point of intersection of the two axes. Okay, so a point can lie in the first quadrant, in the second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, or on the x axis, on the y axis. So where does this point lie? 0, -2. Don't say in any quadrant. It doesn't lie in any quadrant. Point 0, -2 lies where? Zero, -2. Zero, -2. 0. This is 0, -2. So here. This is 0, -2. Where does it lie?
Y-axis, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm measuring my tolerance today. Thank you so much. Today I can measure my tolerance, my patience. Thanks for this opportunity. Axis, okay. The y-axis. Yeah. Class, use the emoji. Raise your hand. Where are the others? Tarun, Ishwaran, are you there? Sangamitra, Pratiksha, Vasudevan, Nikita, Shivani, Tarun, Arav, Kanishka. Hi, Satvika, Ananya. Shreyas, where are you? Tarun, Ishwaran.
I'm here, ma'am.
Okay, not able to use the emoji, is it?
Ma'am, I'm Shreyas, ma'am.
Oh, Shreyas, okay. All right. So of the students here, Sangamitra has finished her exams at school. So BVM has finished term 1 final exam. Kamla Niketan will finish tomorrow, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Vasudevan, even you're from BVM, right? Okay, I think he's also from BVM.
Yes, ma'am.
Nikita. Okay. Oh, you belong to the same section, no? Sangamitra and Vasudevan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Nikita will finish tomorrow. Shivani, Shri is not sure about the timetable, meaning the timetable is not released. Tarun, Chennai. Tarun, Chennai, have you finished your term 1 final examinations?
No, ma'am, it's going on, ma'am.
When are you finishing?
On 9th, ma'am.
9th, huh? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
When is your maths paper? You finished your maths paper or still to do?
Yes, ma'am, I finished the max paper, ma'am.
Okay. Share your question paper with me later. Take pictures of your question paper and share it with
Yes,
me on
ma'am.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, all the students have finished their exams at school, term 1 final examination. You can also share your preparatory paper. You just need to spend some 10-15 minutes for me. So when you find time, please do that. Arav is still to finish his exams. Kanishka is still to finish. Ananya tomorrow. Satvika finished. Shreyas finished. Tarun Ishwaran tomorrow. So Mahatma Gandhi and Montfort still to finish. Okay. Yes, children, this is from your textbook. Parallel lines, GED is
54 degrees.
54, ma'am.
54. GED, this full angle GED is 126. How much is GEF?
Ma'am, GEF minus FED.
126 minus 90, right?
Yes, ma'am.
GEF is 126 minus 90. So that is 36 degrees. So we need to find FGE, FGE, FGE. So this is 36. Yeah, 54. This one is 54 degrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, or we can directly use the concept of co-interior angles, right? Co-interior angles are supplementary. Parallel line, we need to find FGE, FGE, yeah, right. Given GED, GED, yeah. So parallel line, transversal, parallel line, transversal, parallel line. Parallel line, transversal, parallel line. This angle is given to be 126 degrees. This is given to be 126, and we need to find this one. These two lines are parallel. So these angles are co-interior angles, they're supplementary. So 180 minus 126, 54. This angle is 54 degrees. Parallel lines intersected by transversal, co-interior angles are supplementary. See here? Now see it here. Parallel line, transversal, parallel line. These two lines are parallel to each other, and this is the transversal. So here this angle is 126. This angle is 126. So this one will be, these two angles are co-interior angles. They're supplementary. So 180 minus 126, 54. 54. Let's do the ninth one. If a plus 1 by a is equal to 1 by root of, not root of, is equal to 1 by root 3 minus 1. Find a square plus 1 by a square. What is a plus 1 by a after rationalizing the denominator?
Root 3 plus 1 by 2, ma'am.
Root 3 plus 1 by 2. So we are given a plus 1 by a is equal to 1 by root 3 minus 1. The denominator is irrational, so we'll rationalize it by multiplying and dividing by root 3 plus 1, the conjugate. Root 3 plus 1. So a plus 1 by a will be equal to root 3 plus 1 by 2. Now what will you do with this equation? A plus 1 by a is equal to root 3 plus 1 by 2. To find a square plus 1 by a square, you'll have to square it on both the sides.
Square.
Yeah, do it. After rationalizing the denominator, you get root 3 plus 1 by 2. But when you just square this on both the sides, so you will get a square plus 1 by a square on squaring mine plus 2 is equal to, when you square the numerator, you will get 3 plus 1 plus 2 root 3. When you square the numerator, sorry, 2 root 3 divided by, when you square the denominator, it's 4. First is to rationalize the denominator and then square on both the sides. A plus b, x plus y the whole square is x squared plus y squared plus 2xy. Square the numerator, square the denominator. So a square plus 1 by a square is equal to 4. Yeah, tell me.
Root 3 minus 2 by 2.
Yeah, root 3 minus 2 by 2. But we'll have to modify that answer to suit the option given here. I'll show you the options. Yeah, you're right. Even I got the same thing. Root 3 minus 2 by 2. So 4 plus 2 root 3 by 4. Plus 2 on the other side, minus 2. So a square plus 1 by a square is equal to 4 plus 2 root 3 minus 8. Minus 8 by 4. So a square plus 1 by a square. Two root 3 minus 4. The whole upon 4. The whole upon 4. So we'll take it separately for this and this. It's the whole upon 4. We'll take it separately for this and this. So we get root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 minus 1. Or minus 1 plus root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 minus 1 or minus 1 plus root 3 by 2. Minus 1 plus root 3 by 2. So we have it here, minus 1 plus root 3 by 2. You can have, if you can ask me if you still don't understand.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, so I think the start should be to rationalize the denominator of 1 by root 3 minus 1. Rationalize the denominator and then square it on both the sides to find a square plus 1 by a square. And then we get 2 root 3 minus 4 by 4. You can simplify that, but again it will not be the, you don't find it in the options given. So take the denominator separately for each term in the numerator. Yeah, work this. If x is equal to root 6 plus root 5, then the value of x square plus 1 by x square minus 2 is. What is the expression? How else can we express x squared plus 1 by x square minus 2? What do you understand by x squared plus 1 by x square minus 2? All right, find the value. Yeah, tell me.
X plus 1 by x the whole square.
No.
X minus 1 by x the whole square.
Yeah, x minus 1 by x the whole square. So we need to find the value of x minus 1 by x the whole square. That means we have x with us. We need to find 1 by x, then x minus 1 by x and square the answer and tell. We have x, find 1 by x, then find x minus 1 by x. And then just square that value and that's the answer. Good. Find 1 by x. What next? Find 1 by x. X already has a rational denominator, root 6 plus root 5 by 1. That's already the numerator is irrational. We are talking about rationalizing the denominator. The denominator of x, that is root 6 plus root 5 is 1. Root 6 plus root 5 by 1. It's already rational. So find 1 by x. What's 1 by x?
Root 6 minus
Root 6 minus root 5. 1 by x is 1 by root 6 plus root 5. X is, if x is, supposing x is 5, 1 by x will be 1 by 5. X is root 6 plus root 5. 1 by x is equal to 1 by root 6 plus root 5. So the denominator is irrational. The conjugate of the denominator is root 6 minus root 5. Multiply and divide by the conjugate. So 1 by x is equal to, on simplifying, you get root 6 minus root 5. Now next we have to find x minus 1 by x. We know the value of x is it's given to us root 6 plus root 5. And now 1 by x minus, okay, so minus in bracket. This is x, minus. This is 1 by x, which is root 6 minus root 5. This is 1 by x. So you get root 6 plus root 5 minus root 6 plus root 5. So minus root 6 plus root 6 gets cancelled. 2 root 5. So when you square this, x minus 1 by x minus 1 by x is equal to 2 root 5. So x minus 1 by x the whole square. X minus 1 by x the whole square will be equal to 2 root 5 the whole square. Which is 4 5s are 20. When you expand this, you will get x square plus 1 by x square minus 2. Expand it, you will get x square plus 1 by x square minus 2. That's what they want us to find. The value of x square plus 1 by x square minus 2 is 20. We have x with rational denominator. We need to find 1 by x. Here the denominator is irrational, so rationalize it. We get 1 by x is root 6 minus root 5. Now find x minus 1 by x. This is x minus 1 by x. So x minus 1 by x is 2 root 5. See, minus 1 by x, be careful. So in bracket, minus 1 by x in bracket, minus root 6, minus into minus plus root 5. So x minus 1 by x is 2 root 5. When you square this, you get 20. When you square this, you will get that expression x square plus 1 by x square minus 2. A minus b the whole square is a square plus b square minus 2ab. Abscissa has 2, ordinate is minus 5. Where does it lie? Oh my God.
4.
Fourth quadrant, yeah. We'll wind up today's session with this one. Before we do this, let me just get to know which chapter is happening in term 2 in the schools who have started term 2 portions. Sangamitra, which chapter in your school? Quadrilaterals?
We are done with quadrilaterals and we have started circles.
Circles. Quadrilaterals, all NCERT problems finished? Example 10 exercise?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what else?
Circles have just started.
Quadrilaterals. From this chapter, quadrilaterals, exercise and examples from textbook, and then anything else?
No, ma'am, just from the rest.
Textbook. Oh, fine. Satvika? Because Shreyas is not there. Satvika, please talk. What's happening in your school?
And we just started portions, term 2 portions, ma'am. Surface area and volume. We're teaching that lesson.
Oh, okay. 1 minute. So they've started term 2. The first chapter they've started is surface area and volumes. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is the progress in this chapter? Where are you in this chapter?
They talked about the volume, surface area, and formulas about that, and we finished exercise 13.1.
The first exercise you finished. Okay, okay. Anything else has been done apart from this chapter in for term 2?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Satvika and Sangamitra. Yes, children, we'll wind up today's session with this one. The perpendicular distance of point P. P should be capital letter P, not small letter, capital P. If the perpendicular distance of a point P from the x-axis is 3 units along the negative direction. Oh, what's this? X-axis be 3 units along the negative direction of the y-axis, then the point P has so there's a point and the perpendicular distance. Okay, there's this point P whose perpendicular distance from the x-axis. This is the x-axis. The perpendicular distance of the point from this x-axis. The perpendicular distance of the point from the x-axis is 3 units along the negative direction of the y-axis. So see here, negative. This is the negative direction of the y-axis. There is a point whose perpendicular distance from the x-axis is 3 units along the negative direction of the y-axis. So here the point is. So the point can be the perpendicular distance of the point. See, the point can be here. The point can be here. See, the point can be here, here, here. The point can be here. Okay, supposing we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what's the address of this point? 5, minus 3. 5, minus 3. Now, this point 5, minus 3 is at a distance, the perpendicular distance of this point 5 comma minus 3 is 3 units. And you can see it's in the negative direction of the y-axis. All these points, x and y-axis, the perpendicular distance, some point P, its perpendicular distance from the x-axis is 3 units along the negative direction of the y-axis, along the negative direction. So it's 3 units. So 3, meaning here the point is going to be minus 3. The marking here is minus 3. So the point can lie anywhere here, anywhere on this line. Every point on this line will be at a distance of 3 units from the x-axis. 3 units from the x-axis, and you can see in the negative direction of the y-axis. So that means everywhere here the y coordinate will be minus 3. The x coordinate will vary. This is minus 1. So this will be like minus 1 comma minus 3. This is minus 2 comma minus 3 because this is minus 1, right? Minus 1, minus 2. So on this line, the y coordinate is always minus 3. The y coordinate is always minus 3. They are talking about the perpendicular distance of a point from the x-axis. So from the x-axis meaning like this, perpendicular distance from the x-axis, perpendicular distance from the x-axis. But it's not like this because it's in the negative direction of the y-axis. So the point is somewhere here. The point is somewhere here. And it's given that the distance is 3 units. The distance of that point from the x-axis is 3 units. 3 units means here it will be 3. But because it is the negative side, it's minus 3. So the point can be here, the point can be here, the point can be here. Everywhere the distance is 3 units. Everywhere the distance is 3 units. So what you observe is the y coordinate will always be minus 3. In all these points, the y coordinate will always be minus 3. Y coordinate is equal to minus 3. All right, children, now, sorry. Yeah, children, so that's it for today's session. Now, even I'll be starting with the chapter quadrilaterals. Maybe we'll do surface areas and volumes is a big chapter. So quadrilaterals, normally that's what we do. For term 2, we start with quadrilaterals because we've just completed congruent triangles, and the knowledge of congruent triangles is very important to understand quadrilaterals. The knowledge of congruent triangles is very important to understand the chapter quadrilaterals. So before children forget it, so we normally start off with quadrilaterals so that congruent triangles is kind of still fresh in your mind. So it's easier to pick up quadrilaterals. Having said that, this chapter surface areas and volumes is also a very huge one. It's very vast. So many extra problems away from NCERT. So maybe we'll do both, simultaneously, like maybe one class of quadrilaterals, because even this chapter surface areas and volumes is also in my mind, because considering that it's a very vast chapter. So we might do these two chapters parallelly. We'll probably do quadrilaterals in one class and surface areas and volumes in another class. So like that. So that's how it's going to be the start of term 2 here. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. We might have.
Thank you.
1 second. We might have a class tomorrow or a day after, because Wednesday will not be able to have a class. So we might have a class tomorrow or a day after evening. Please check WhatsApp for that. So that will be the Wednesday's class, not day after. If you have it, you'll have it tomorrow, children, not day after. Please check WhatsApp if I'll be scheduling a class tomorrow for you. If not tomorrow, then it will be on Saturday. Thursday, no, Thursday is Diwali, right? Okay. No. Okay, fine. So mostly I'll schedule a class for you tomorrow, children. Please check WhatsApp for that. All right, children. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
I leave the call.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, children.